Today, we're going to jump into a pretty fascinating and honestly radical new way to think about that constant, low level frustration that so many of us feel. We're going to look at the modern world through a brand new lens, one that might just change how you see, well, everything. You know that feeling, right? That sense that something is just off. Like the rules of the game don't quite make sense, but you can't put your finger on exactly why. Look, if that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. The ideas we're exploring today suggest this feeling isn't a bug. It's a fundamental feature of our modern world. Okay, let's dive right in. This feeling, it's not some personal failing or something you need to fix about yourself. The source material describes it as a collective, latent hum across our entire society. It's so pervasive that we've almost stopped noticing it. It's kind of like the hum of a refrigerator in the background of our lives, this persistent frustration we've all just learned to live with. So, this is where it gets really interesting. This framework says, hey, frustration isn't a weakness. It's a vital signal. Think of it like a barometer for reality. It's your mind's way of screaming, hey, there's a void here. There should be an answer or a solution, but there's just nothing. It's an indicator that the system you're in simply isn't working right. So if our collective frustration is just the symptom, what's the actual disease? What's the root cause of this universal hum? Well, the sources propose a really powerful core concept that they say underpins pretty much everything. And this brings us to the core idea, the global void. And this isn't just some lofty philosophical concept. The idea here is that it's the literally empty foundation on which we've built our chaotic modern world. It is a fundamental gap in our understanding of who we are and what we're supposed to be doing. And it all boils down to these two huge questions, right? The ones every single person has probably wondered about in a quiet moment, but that we, as a collective, have kind of tacitly agreed to just ignore. And by failing to even try to answer them, we've created this void right at the center of civilization. So what happens when you try to build a complex society on top of nothing? You get chaos, that's what. You get these arbitrary rules, these undefined goals, and systems that just constantly frustrate the individual, from school to the 9-to-5 grind to even how we form relationships. We're all running around in these routines that nobody really designed for a purpose nobody's ever defined. But here's the thing, this isn't all doom and gloom. This analysis doesn't just diagnose the problem, it also suggests a way out. It says we can find clarity by looking at a totally different model of reality, one that operates on a much simpler, more fundamental principle. This right here is the core of that alternative model. The idea is that the world itself, separate from all our human-made confusion, is constantly teaching a lesson on value exchange. And this isn't just about money. It's about the flow of energy, of effort, of time. It has a very strict accounting system, a currency agenda, and it never, ever deviates. Now, to help us wrap our heads around this, the text introduces a character named Glenn. Don't think of him as a protagonist or a hero. He's more like a lens, a way for us to see the world's underlying mechanics of value and interaction without all of our usual biases getting in the way. Just take a look at this. It really breaks it down. On the left, you've got these clean exchanges. A coffee is bought, money is exchanged. Simple. A worker puts an effort, a building rises. In these interactions, energy flows smoothly, and the whole motion is sustainable. But on the right, distorted exchanges. An argument that goes nowhere just drains everyone's energy. Notifications on your phone just block your focus. Here, motion is blocked, and energy is just wasted. The sources even give us this really cool kind of visual way to think about it. It's like reality itself is keeping score. When value is exchanged cleanly, things get metaphorically warmer, more vibrant. But when that exchange gets distorted or blocked, things get colder, they fade. It's an intuitive way to feel the math of any interaction. Okay, so if reality is this simple, why is our world so ridiculously complicated and frustrating? Well, according to this framework, a huge source of all this distortion is the very language we use, specifically our addiction to static nouns. We get caught in what the source calls the noun trap. We argue endlessly about concepts like justice, freedom, or debt. But these are just static boxes, places where energy gets stuck and just dies. This framework argues that reality only understands one thing: kinetic verbs. It only responds to what things are actually doing. A corporation isn't a business. It is hiring or firing, creating or destroying. A relationship isn't just a noun called love. It is supporting, listening, or maybe neglecting.
And this right here is the absolute killer insight. You can slap any label you want on something. You can call a broken system fair, but you cannot lie about the action. The math of the exchange either adds up or it doesn't. The motion is either sustainable or it isn't. The verb, the action, that always tells the truth. So all of this, the void, the value exchange, the noun trap, it all leads us to the one big takeaway. It's a simple but profound question that acts like a diagnostic tool to cut right through all the noise. For centuries, we've been asking, is this good? Is it just? Is it fair? But those are all nouns, right? And we get stuck debating them forever. This framework says, scrap those questions. It proposes a different, much more fundamental question you should ask about any system, any interaction, any policy. That's it. That's the question. Does it clear? This one question changes everything. It replaces all that subjective morality with objective function. It moves the whole conversation from what we call something to what it actually does. So what does clearing actually mean? Well, it's really asking three things. First, is the motion sustainable, or is it just going to burn itself out? Second, is the exchange of value complete and fair for everyone involved? And finally, does the energy that goes out return without breaking the system or the people inside it? Think about it. From a simple conversation with a friend to a global economic policy, asking, does it clear, gives you a powerful new lens. It forces you to ignore all the labels and just audit the motion. And maybe, just maybe, it's the question that can finally help us start navigating our way out of the void. All right, today we're going to jump into